Hello everybody, welcome to this episode of the International Sports Affairs Training Course. This is Richard Wang. I am the Asia correspondent for WBSC, the World Baseball Softball Confederation. It's a pleasure for me to come here today to share some of the experiences that I have gained over my nearly 20 years of the working experience in the industry. And today we'll be talking about sports marketing and through events. And in the past, we may see a lot of sports marketing lessons. Most of them probably are from the point of the marketing arms. But today, I would like to share some of the thoughts that I have while I was part of the event organization, or I was part of the media service provider, as well as part of the broadcasting arm as well. So we will be going to, before that, I will go with the short introduction of myself. I used to be the deputy chief of the international affairs for the CPBL, the Chinese Professional Baseball League here in Taiwan, and I was with the league since 2000 until 2014. After that, I became the Asia correspondent for the World Baseball Softball Confederation until now. And one of the more special experiences that I have with the event organization was that I was the deputy convener for the MPC, the Main Press Center, in the 2017 Taipei Summer Universiade. The preparation stage of that task went from 2016 until the very beginning of 2018. And also on one of the topics that we'll be touching on today, that will be my experience from the broadcasting. Especially, I was the broadcasting commentator and also the broadcaster for the Major League Baseball here with Fox Sports. And I also am working on the 11 Sports Network and also Momo TV for the CPBL English broadcast. And that will be something quite special that we'll be talking about a little bit later. So on today's course, I will go through with one of the three subjects. The first one will be the Asia Series. That was one of the professional baseball tournament in Asia, and that started in 2005 and discontinued after 2013. We'll be talking about the sports marketing through the event execution. And the other one will be 2017 Taipei Summer Universiade, as I just mentioned earlier, that we'll be talking about sports marketing through media service. And number three, and the final one, would be the 2020 CPBL English broadcast. That is actually one of the first try in 30 years of the CPBL history, as we'll be talking about sports marketing through broadcasting. So there will be the three topics that we'll be touching on in this episode. Well, let's take a look at the Asia Series 2005 to 2013 first, as we'll be talking about how we do the sports marketing through event execution. And what is Asia Series? Actually, it did start from a little bit earlier, a little bit late in the 2004 season as the Professional Baseball League from Chinese Taipei. Well, right here we'll be starting with the Asia Series that started in 2005 and discontinued after 2013. And we'll be talking about that through event execution. And what is Asia Series? Actually, the Asia Series, the idea of that actually started in the very later part of the 2004 season, as the professional baseball leagues here in Taiwan, Japan, and Korea, along with the China Baseball Association in China, started a conversation to try to figure out to have some kind of a tournament to run after the professional baseball season in each country. So the first meeting, I believe that it was held in Beijing, and we had a very quick meeting on how we're going to set this up. So the format will be for the Asia Series will be for every championship team to represent its league at the end of the season after all the league has finished their championship series, and as we gather in Japan. To fight for the title of the Asia #1. And of course, in the very early part of the Asia Series, in those years in 2005, 6, and 7, there wasn't any real professional baseball in China. But as they were preparing for the Beijing Olympics, as they also have the team representing themselves, they were sending the China Star, sort of like a development team for their national team. So there was the 4 teams, 3 championship teams from the 3 professional leagues, and 1 national development team, or the reserve team from China. So that is practically the structure of the Asia Series. And of course, in that initiation, Japan, which is the Nippon Professional Baseball, had a very, very important role in the entire setting. So we have NPB, which is Nippon Professional Baseball, CPBL, the Chinese Professional Baseball here, Baseball League here in Taiwan, and also KBO, the Korea Baseball Organization, to go along with CBA, the China Baseball Association. These 4 associations, or the leagues, were the founding units for the Asia Series. And now, actually, as the leagues in Asia were trying to have this kind of competition after the professional series, actually there was one similar series that was held back in the early days. So we called it a pre-Asia Series international event. It was in 1995, and it was called the Asia Pacific Super Series. And who played in those series? The Lions from the CPBL, and also the Daiei Hawks. Well, they are gone by now. They are known as SoftBank Hawks right now from Japan, and also Hanwha Eagles, which is still there with the KBO. So these 3 teams actually participated the first and also the only Asia Pacific Super Series back in 1995. And guess who won the title for that? And that is the Lions. Lions defeated the Eagles and also defeated the Hawks for the first time. And actually, by now, the only time for any team from Chinese Professional Baseball League here in Taiwan to win any kind of international series between the professional baseball clubs. So there was a little bit of the history there. And now for the Asia Series, as we mentioned, that Japan, which is Nippon Professional Baseball, played a very important role because they were the founder and also they were the initial organizer for the Asia Series. So they were actually the one who was calling everybody to set up the meetings and to propose the ideas and then propose the entire baseball operations and the plan. And they are also supporting all the baseball operations. And that is a very important role, especially when we're trying to set up a baseball tournament. And also, one of the other important things is that they secure the very important sponsorship. We'll be talking about that a bit later in the slides that we'll be seeing. And also, one of the other things that we'll be talking about today will be that the marketing. Because NPB is the founder or the initial organizer of the series, they are also responsible for most of the marketing. Well, when I say most, it's probably all the marketing needs we will need here in this Asia Series. So that's a very, very important thing that we need to know, that how NPB is involved in the initiation of the Asia Series. Well, as we can see that there are 7 editions of the Asia Series. However, we have a break between the 2008 and 2011. We'll go to that later. But in those years, for the first 3 years, let's take a look at the participation first. In the first, and actually for the first 4 editions, it's all CBA, CBBL, KBO, and NPB 4 editions, 4 leagues from Asia to participate that. And in 2011, that was actually the first time the series was held in Taiwan. And CBA did not come and was replaced by ABA, the Australian Baseball League. And it was also the first time the Australian Baseball League team to make their debut in Asia Series and to participate in Asia Series. And in 2012, we have CBA back to the pictures. So we have 5 leagues, but however, we have 6 teams. Well, that year, the game was hosted in Korea. So KBO sent 2 teams, their number 1 team and their number 2 team, to make it a 6-team competition. I mean, naturally speaking, it'll be easier to run a even number team tournament than an odd number team tournament. And in 2013, and by now that will be the last Asia Series they ever held, CBF did not come again, but they were replaced by CEB, the European Baseball Confederation. Since 2013, the series was sanctioned by WBSC. So actually, with the help of WBSC, CEB was able to send a team. And the team was actually from Italy. So for those years, we can see that the first four series were all held in Tokyo, when the 2011 and 2013 was held here in Taiwan, in Taichung. And of course, the 2012, the game was held in Busan, in Korea. That's why we mentioned about earlier that they were sending two teams. And also in 2013, because we have 5 leagues participating in the series, and it was held here in Taichung, so CPBL sent 2 teams to form a 6-team tournament. And guess who the winners are? Well, the Japanese team won the first 4, while the KBO team, the Korean Baseball Organization, sent Samsung Lions to Taiwan to participate in 2011 as they won the our first championship of the Asia Series. In 2012, the team from Japan got it back as they won the 5th championship in the series. A very interesting development is in 2013, the team from Australia actually defeated everybody else and won their first and only championship of this Asia Series. And speaking of the marketing, as we were saying that Japan was primarily responsible for the marketing issues and the marketing performances, they were able to secure one of the biggest digital gaming industry company in Japan. It was called Konami. And that is why in the first 3 editions of the Asia Series, the Asia Series was actually largely called Konami Cup. But however, after 3 years of sponsorship, they did not continue their sponsorship. So MPB was forced to hold the 2008 Asia Series by themselves. And speaking of another title sponsorship, in 2012, when the series was held in Korea, KBO was able to locate the Magu Manager. That's one of the online gaming company as well, to become the title sponsor of the series. And however, in 2011 and 2013, in those 2 seasons, there was no title sponsors in those series. So it is pretty much everything that we have here right now for the first 3 editions. We have Konami Cup as a title sponsor, and when we come to 2012, we have Manager as the title sponsor. So among those 7 editions of the Asia Series that was held, only 2 title sponsors that we were able to secure. So basically, one of the reasons for the Asia Series to discontinue is the budget issue and the financial issue. So that is pretty much the picture of the Asia Series in those 7 years of its existence. And now let's take a look at the teams, because we mentioned about that in the first 5 editions, there were 4 teams participated in the series, while in the later 2, there were 6 teams participating in the series. So who are those teams? Well, in 2005, China Star made their debut along with the Sinon Bulls from the CPBL and Samsung Lions from KBO, and of course, Chiba Lotte Marines representing MPB won the championship. So as on this slide, you can see that all the winning teams are in red and all the runner-up team are in yellow. In 2006, Nippon Ham Fighters won the title again, while they defeated La New Bears representing CPBL here, and that is the first time a team from CPBL actually made it to the final game. In 2007, the Junit Dragons from MPB again won the title as they defeated SK Wyverns in the final games. But one of the interesting things is that, as you can see, that both the Uniprison Lions and SK Wyverns made the Asia Series back-to-back in 2007 and 2008. The interesting thing is that the Prison were able to defeat the Wyverns in the 2008 series as they played the final game against the Seibu. So it was a Lions and Lions series for the final game in 2008. And in 2011, that was the first time for Taiwan's CPBO to host the tournament. And CBA did not come, so Perth Heats from ABL participated the series. Samsung Lions defeated the SoftBank Hawks to win the first championships of Asia Series for KBO. In 2012, we went to Korea. So Korea sent a team from Samsung Lions and also another team, Lotte Giants, two teams from KBO to participate in the series, as the Yomiuri Giants from Japan won the series. In the last Asia Series so far up to now, Canberra Cavalries from the ABL won the title by defeating the Uni-President Lions. Also, we have 6 teams format. The other team sent from the CBBO was the Ida Rhinos, and now known as the Fubon Guardians. So that's pretty much how the outcome of the games were. Of course, for the first 3 years, we have Konami Cup, when we were able to secure Konami as the title sponsor. And of course, we mentioned that again in 2012 when KBO was hosting the tournament, Magu Manager was the title sponsor. So whatever happened in those 2 years, that between 2008 and 2011, when there was no Asia Series, one of the biggest reasons for the Asia Series to discontinue after 2008 is the financial issues. It is never it is always a very expensive business to run professional baseball, not just for the regular season game or for each league's playoff and everything, but also for the international tournament. It's costing a lot of money, especially you do that in Japan. We run a quick math to run a Asia Series in Japan, and if you compare that to run a series here in Taiwan, the cost to run a series in Taiwan is actually 1/3 of the expense when you want to run a series in Japan. So from 2005 to 2007, we had the sponsor, which is called Konami. But in 2008, we really did not have any sponsor to pay for so many bills. So MPB, who was the hosting organization, suffered a financial loss. So that is one of the reasons the Asia Series was discontinued after 2008. But however, to try to continue the traditions for the leagues here in Asia to have a competition after their series, MPB actually hosted the MPB and KBO series, and it was held in Nagasaki. And they did the same thing for 2010 by doing the same thing in Tokyo this time. And at the same time in 2010, because Taiwan CPBO actually expressed their intention to host the next Asia Series. That is why, again, between CPBO and KBO series was also held in 2010 as like a warm-up operations for the 2011 series. So actually the leagues from Japan, from Korea, and also from CBA, they were actually looking at how the series between CPBO and KBO was held to see if CPBO will be possible or would qualify the needs to host a Asia Series in the season of 2011. And luckily, after hosting a very successful 2010 CPBO and KBO series, all the leagues agreed to have the Asia Series to be hosted by CPBO in 2011. But in those years, in 2009, the Giants and the Tigers played one game, MPB and KBO series. In 2010, Chiba Lotte Marines and SK Wyverns also played a one-game series. The different thing for the CBO and KBO series is that there were 2 games arranged between the Brother Elephants and the SK Wyverns. The 2 teams actually split the series, so they split the winning money. And by doing that, they were able to, CBBO was able to show that we are ready to host the 2011 Asia Series. So that is probably everything that we have here for the Asia Series that went discontinued between 2009 and 2010. And as we mentioned, that the MPB hosted 2 series between MPB and KBO clubs, and also CBBO hosts another series against the KBO club, and specifically for the purpose to try to run that tournament as a rehearse or a warm-up series to see if they are ready for the 2011 Asia Series. As we are talking about the Asia Series that was held here in Taiwan in 2011 and 2013, we actually would like to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the marketing strategy here when we here were the hosting organization. As we mentioned in the beginning of the episode, that we'll be talking about the sports marketing by 3 different roles. One as the hosting organization, one as the media service provider, and the other one will be the broadcasting arms. Here we'll be talking about this as a hosting organization to try to promote the series. First of all, you got to make sure that in all kind of marketing, not just the sports marketing, you got to make sure that who your audience is. And that is probably one of the most important things that maybe you have already known, but that is also something that we need to stick to it in every tournament when we're trying to plan anything like that. And after you can make sure that who your audience is, then you can decide on what kind of approach you will take to try to run the sports marketing to them as your targeted audience. And of course, in the Asia Series, you're actually facing 2 kinds of audiences as a hosting organization. One is to international audiences, because this is one international event, international tournament, and you definitely have to put some of the focus on the international audiences. And at the same time, you also want to put some focus on your local audiences, because nonetheless, that will be your biggest income coming from your local audiences, because for the international audiences to come, it's going to be a lot of travel and it will be extra cost and everything. You do need to pay a lot of attention to how you promote your game to your local audiences. But no matter you're facing the local audiences or the international audiences, there are some pretty much the same categories that you'll be seeing here. You'll be facing, number one, the general public. What is the general public? That means that they are not the die-hard sports fans. In this case, they are not the die-hard baseball fans. They may know baseball, they may like sports, they may know that the event will be held here. Okay, then what? You have to find some ways to try to get them here, to go to the city where the games are held, to go to the place where the game is held, to try to make them to be engaged. And that's general public. And of course, next one, baseball fans. That is your main core. No matter you're targeting your audience as the international baseball fans or from the local baseball fans. Like the fans in Taiwan, they are very, very crazy about baseball games, and they would definitely know what is going on here. There's a game going on, but of course, you need to tell them what kind of game it is. And of course, for the international baseball fans, they would do know what kind of game it is, as they are paying a lot of attention to their league. And you have to try to do a lot of things for them to connect their league and to the international tournament as well. And number 3, usually we don't see this in a lot of the sports marketing talks about who your audience is. But here, I would like to encourage you guys to think about this in the future when you are trying to organize a sporting event, or even in many different ways, as you will be part of the broadcasting arms, or you will be the media service provider. The third kind of audience you're facing is actually the media. We'll be talking a little bit more about that, as maybe a lot of people would not think the media would be the type of the people there we are targeting at as we are doing the sports marketing. But We'll talk about this a bit later. So, general public, baseball fans, and media, I would like to present this to you. 3 very important targeted audiences for you when we are running the sports marketing. Well, general public, we're just gonna take the examples as we were actually trying to sell our product to the international fans for now. Well, number 1, the need of tourism is greater than baseball. We'll talk about this just a little bit later. They do like baseball, just like, but they are not going to come to all the way, for example, from Japan to Taiwan just for baseball. You have a lot of attractions, and you make yourself very appealing as a country where they can come here to have a lot of sightseeing and fun. But baseball is just part of their itinerary, part of their schedule. So the need of tourism is greater than baseball, and that is when, for example, as we're talking about, we are trying to sell this to our international fans or international general public, then your tourism bureau in that country, or when you are doing a sports marketing in that country, you must try to prepare something for this special group of people, because they are the tourists with interest in baseball. They will come here to see a lot of things, but they will also like to come here to maybe to just participate one of those games. So in trying to appeal to this targeted audience, you need to provide multiple itineraries for general public. You can't just design a package for them. You come here for a 5-day schedule, and then you spend 4 days in the baseball stadium. That is not what they are coming here for. But they may be able to spend 1 day or 1 night in a stadium to watch the game, probably most likely between their team and another team that he will be interested in. So at the same time, when you are trying to appeal this general public for these overseas potential fans or potential customers, you also need to design cultural programs for them. So they come here with a full package of, you try to introduce your culture to them, you try to introduce your baseball to them, and your food and your everything, but try to make them a complete package and for them to have multiple choices. And that is one of the sports marketing that you need to know as a host organization, that when you know that you're facing this kind of audiences, and this is what you need to do. And for the baseball fans, well, the thing is, for the baseball fans, it'll be much easier, but not that easier. Again, I will be talking about this later, to face the baseball fans as they are one of your targeted audience. The need of baseball here, of course, it'll be reversed from the one we talked about earlier before when we are actually facing the general public. The need of baseball is greater than tourism. Or for many cases, it could be the only need as well. So they are here for the baseball games, for sure. And for those international fans that, as I have encountered many of them before while I was CPBO, they are those fans who would travel all the way to the other country to watch baseball games or watch many baseball games. They are just die-hard baseball fans. So they would love to have as much as baseball information that was given to them, for them to come here, for them to prepare their itineraries and everything like that. So for you as a hosting organization to run a sports marketing strategy to those people, you need to prepare as much as information regarding baseball for them. And also you must design some baseball programs for this audience. For example, a lot of people may just thinking that they come here to watch the game, but they are die-hard baseball fans. They would really like to have something more than the game. So that is why we have we have arranged the fan fairs. We have invited some of the players, not just for the local players, but also the players from their foreign leagues to join us in an autograph session. So it will present a very, very unique and a very ideal situation for those fans who travel all the way from, for example, Japan or Korea, or even from China to meet with the baseball players that they know or they like. At the same time, they did not have many opportunities to encounter with when they are back in Japan or Korea. So that is one of the things we need to run. So we will be designing baseball programs for this kind of targeted audience, and for them to try to get the most out of their travel all the way, from Japan to Taiwan or from Korea to Taiwan, even actually for the local fans as well. I mean, for the game to be held in Taichung, we are basically expecting fans to travel from Taipei or Tainan or Kaohsiung for them to come here to the center part of Taiwan. And if you can prepare more things than they're expected, for example, a lot of times during the regular seasons here in Taiwan, you really don't have that many chances to meet with the players, and not to say that to try to get an autograph from the players or get a photo opportunities from the players. But in this kind of event, in this kind of international event, we have to provide these kind of opportunities for our targeted audience, which is baseball fans, which is diehard baseball fans, for them to have more things to look forward to, and for them to have more things to take away as one of their very nice experiences and memories when they participate the international events just like this. So we prepare a different thing for the general public. We prepare different things for the baseball fans. And now we're talking about the media. That is also something, as I mentioned earlier, that maybe a lot of people would not be very familiar with us making media as one of the targeted audience when we're talking about sports marketing. We always think that they are just there reporting the news, covering the events and things and that. But I would like to encourage you to not to treat these media people just like media, and try to think that they are here to participate in the event too. We'll elaborate that later in a second episode of the tonight of this course. But here, I'm trying to bring this idea to you guys to try to make you think that the media people, they are actually one of the group that is actually touching everything that you're doing right now, especially when you are a host when you are playing as a hosting organization, you're the staff of the hosting organization. You're actually seeing media, meeting media from the very beginning, not just beginning of the tournament, but during the preparation stage of the tournament, that you are actually seeing a lot of them. So the media people are actually they may not be as crazy or as diehard as those fans, but they are actually the one who has all the information leading up to the opening of the tournament, and they will also go on and to cover the tournament and everything like that. So what you do as a hosting organization, and while you are running the sports marketing to this very special targeted audience, is that you provide as much as information and service as possible. And of course, we know that a lot of times the league will take care of their media when they go abroad. For example, I remember that in one of the Asia series, the Korean baseball organization actually helped the entire Korean media delegate. They kind of they formed the delegates, they took them here. But here from CBA, what we were able to do is that we tried to negotiate a very good deal of the hotels for these media people, for them to have a very convenient location of their hotel, and for them to have a very convenient transportation for the media people. Things like that. That's called the service part. And so you provide as much as information you can for these media people, and you provide as much as service that you can to these media people in order to try to make their job easier. And if you can make their job easier, then they will have less time spent on trying to get things around, trying to get their hotels settled and things like that. Then they will put more attention to the coverage of the tournament, and that is always a very good thing for the hosting organization to do. So we mentioned it earlier that in the part when we were talking about the baseball fans, we want the baseball fans to have a very good memories after they come to Taiwan to join to participate in the tournament. We also want these media people, no matter where they're from, they may be from Korea, they may be from Japan, and we want these media people to have a very pleasant coverage and travel experience as well, because as I said, as we bring this idea to you, as media is one of the targeted audience that you need to pay attention to when you are running the sports marketing, they are actually the one that can bring you the most. I'm not talking about the income-wise, but if they can run a very smooth coverage, they have a very good experience running their coverage here, and everything that come out on the media will be positive things. And that is definitely something good for you as a hosting organization staff to see, as you really want to try to make everyone who is involved in this tournament to have the best experience for them. In the second part of the episode, we'll be talking about some negative things that the media members experience during the Taipei University. But here, we're just trying to encourage everybody. You try to provide the best service. You try to bring the best memories, not to just the general public, not only for the baseball fans, but the media are very important as well. And how to do this kind of thing, I believe that I really want to take this opportunity to point this out, is information. You need to prepare a lot of information. We mentioned about that. You need to prepare a lot of traveling information to the general public. You need to prepare a lot of baseball-related activities and promotions information to the baseball fans. You need to prepare all kinds of information to the media. And they need to be correct, they need to be clear, and they need to be simple. So that is every bit of the responsibility of the hosting organization. That's very important for you to do that as a hosting organization. And you really want to have a more than adequate staffing to run these kind of things. And try to have this idea in there, is that there's two ends of marketing. You're trying to sell your products as the event or the tournament, whatever you want to call that. At the same time, try to maintain that very good customer relationship between you and your audience is very important as you are running the sports marketing. The two ends of it. You try to sell your product very well. Of course, you got to tell yourself that you have a very good product to sell. After you sell it, or while you're selling it, it's very important to get a very good customer service, because the fans will come to you, the general public will come to you, the media will come to you every minute of the time. So after we identify the part of the audience, we'll take a look at the approach. And of course, nowadays, you can easily divide those approaches to what we have here, the traditional media, TV, radio, and new media. There's 1,000 things on new media. And of course, the in-game promotion and activities with partnership are also very important. And that's where you get your sponsorship coming in from as well. And here, for the Asia series, I would like to share some experience with you guys, is that the old-fashioned style, the exhibition kind of works as well. Well, another old-fashioned style here in Taiwan that we did during the 2011 and 2013 Asia series is actually we were sending a little truck out there with a speaker on the top of it to just announce the information of when and where the Asia series will be held. Of course, we were doing that mostly in the city where the games were held. So we were doing that in Taichung, and we were doing that in Taoyuan. And a lot of times that when we were on the street of the cities and we heard that, we ourselves as a hosting organization, we feel kind of funny, but I believe that it was also one of the very direct and straight way for us to just to spread the information out, like when and where. Those kind of information are very direct and very straightforward. And of course, the traditional media, we are on TV. I mean, all the baseball games here are broadcasted on TV live every day, day in and day out. So we'll be able to work with the broadcasting companies, or maybe we can have some commercials on as well. And there are just so many endless possibilities with the new media, as they will come here to actually work with you, and you go out there, or maybe you can have your own new media platform out there on the internet. So that's another way to recruit the younger fans as well. And the in-game promotion is that we will do some promotions in the game. Like, not only here in Taiwan, but we also were doing those things in the stadiums in Japan, in the stadiums in Korea, because there are so many people in the stadium, as those are the die-hard baseball fans to begin with. So they will pay a lot of attention to baseball information to begin with. So when we are actually selling something right there, selling the information, selling the packages, selling the traveling information, and those kind of things, it actually helped a lot by doing those things in the stadium. And let's talk about the exhibition. And especially I want to say that when we are doing the Asia Series here for the first time, and that was in 2011, still, even there were 2005, 6, 7, 8, 4 editions of Asia Series, and also there were 2010 CBBO and KBO series. It's still quite a vague idea for the general public to know what kind of tournament it is. Yeah, we were able to tell everybody that this is the top tournament for the professional baseball teams after the season. So all the winners of their league come to the place to fight for the title for the #1 in Asia. But still, you still need to try to get this information more out to the people. Sometimes we were able to find out that even for some audience who come to the stadium, they are only actually caring about their own team. For example, the Japanese fans will be only caring about MPB when they go to, for example, Tokyo Dome. And the CBBO fans will only care about, say, the Border Elephants when they go to Tianmu Baseball Stadium. But they weren't really paying a lot of attention to international baseball tournament unless they are played here. Well, since the series will be played in Taiwan in 2011, we tried to come up with some of the ideas to try to attract the fans to try to get a little bit more understanding of the event. So we came up with the idea of running the exhibitions. So for us to try to get more attention from our fans here, we came up with the idea of running exhibitions. We were running those kind of exhibitions earlier in the 2006, 7, 8 series, as we were also having the same idea to try to get more things for the fans to get more ideas about what this Asia Series is all about. But in the season of 2011, we were making it a little bit bigger. So let's take a look. We were actually running the exhibition during the All-Star break in our season back in 2011. And a lot of things we would borrow something from the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. And of course, as the league, actually the league also have saved a lot of souvenirs and artifacts for the past 4 or 5 seasons when we were playing the games. So there are a lot of things that we were able to put out there to show the fans. And that's the time of the telling story is coming. So for all the cases that were put out there were stories right next to it to try to make the fans to get more interest on the artifact that we put on. And that is in one of the case where we have the jersey of the Heats, and we have the jersey of the SK Wyverns, and all the caps from all the teams that actually ever appear in all the leagues. And here, that's also the things there for the past few editions of the Asia Series, the souvenir baseball, the luggage tags, and then the souvenir watch and pen and everything. Everything we were able to get during those past 4 seasons, we actually kept it. Well, I'm a big collector myself, so a lot of things, some of those are my personal collections, but it was a great timing for me to show everything to our fans, our potential customers. And that is another thing that we enjoyed a lot of success over the season as well. We were doing a similar thing in those 4 or 5 editions of the Asia Series, which is that as we work actually trying to bring the foreign teams to Taiwan from Australia, from Korea, from Japan, the number one thing for us to do is that try to engage the fans for them to understand what kind of the teams you are expecting coming to Asia Series. Because I would assume that almost all the Taiwanese baseball teams are very familiar with the teams that we have here in CBBL. But at that time, maybe a lot of people do not know how many teams are there in Australia and who are they. So we did one of the things like that. As you can see, that we have an Australia map on the poster, and to introduce the league to everybody in a very simple and straight way, and to tell everybody how their playoff format is, and to show where every team is. And also, we have some artifacts down there to just to add more colors for the exhibition. And the point for us to do that is just try to make the fans a little bit more interested in and try to make sure that they would know what they will be expecting coming to the beginning of the Asia Series. And that's for the Australia. And also, if you look at closer, we have the trophy there. And the trophy is actually made by one of the very famous jewelry makers in Japan. And we had to ask our friends from MPB to lend it to us, while we put a lot of insurance on top of that as well. So all those kind of things were the selling points to our fans. And in addition to that's the Australian poster in a clear way. And here we show them how their playoff format is. And of course, for this, we also have Korea. Yeah, and the logos there, we just tell the fans the history of the KBO and how their playoff is. And at that time, they only had 8 teams. Right now, they have 10 teams. That is great. But at that time, there were 10 teams, and then to just show them where every team is, just to give the fans a general idea, just like what I said, what they can be expecting. And of course, Japan, well, as most of the fans in Taiwan are probably more familiar with Japanese baseball than Korea baseball, still there are a lot of people who don't know much about it. So here, we're just telling again the same thing to give the very short introduction of MPB and how their leagues and how their teams are aligned, and according to the map here. So all these kind of informations to go along with a lot of other publications. We actually issue the postcards and those kind of things. So we're doing a lot of things to try to make sure that we can engage the fans and for the fans to know more about what they can expect from. So that is probably everything that we were doing when we were doing the sports marketing to promote the Asia Series 2011. We did a similar thing in 2013 as well, and that was able to get us a lot of fans coming to the stadium to celebrate with not only their own team, not only their favorite team, but also for those teams, they may not be that familiar, but they were able to get some ideas from all the marketing things they were doing. So I would say that was a very successful sports marketing for the Asia Series.